Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining me. Special thanks to Pool Guy for the $20 super chat. Very kind of you. Pingus, snooping as usual, I see. Promotion. That's an old one. Thank you for the belated birthday, Michael Bassett. So, let me go ahead and say hi to the people that are currently in the chat. But before so, I apologize for being late. I have some stuff to do this week, and I had to prep my lunches for every single day, and it took a little longer than I expected. So, Ali J, Aquamarine, Retro Smith, Bjorn Jorgensen, Danny Boy, Coyote. Dude, are you gay? No, but you are. Jesse Guarardo, Dankside Phil. He's unstoppable. Grim 2, Blue Hero 96, Carl, John Caulfield, Diego Don Quixote. Let's see here. Anybody? Alex Lemons, good to see you. Dr. Dictator, Jeb Jam, hello Venkman, Vintage Weeb, maybe one day you'll stay in the servers you join, Fearless Wolf, Yam Starch, I see you on Twitter a lot, Blue Flame, let's see here, Marlowe Knights, Chewbacca's Palace, or Blocka, huh? Palace, Marlowe Knights, Kaiju King, glad to see you all here. If you're all bored and and also Deborah David, sorry I didn't mean to miss you. If you're all really bored, Tune Logic Studios, hello. If you're all really bored sometime, hop on to Twitter at LioManBad and I Hurt Feelings over dumb, stupid crap. Alright, so, fun story. The other day, I went on to the He-Man Forum.org, and I went into the Modern Thundercat thread that hasn't been active in like a month. And I just commented, it's been a year, and it has been, since the first and only wave of Super 7 Ultimates. Is there anything happening? And the next day this happens, and let's just say I even posted in the thread like I regret asking. So, for those of you not in the know, Brian of Super 7 has been promising for a year now that we're totally going to get these things in, and they're going to be amazing. They're going to be awesome. Thank you, Tony from Analog Toys, for a $10 super chat. Very gracious. I hope you don't say anything about Subpar 7. I want you to enjoy my joy. Well, you know, how do I put this? Sometimes you just have to sit back and watch National Geographic and watch a lion rip into a gazelle. And that's my joy. Nature is my joy. Enjoy my joy. Don't yuck my yums. I'll write poetry about you while posing with a sword improperly. But, okay, so there are some things I want to go over, but Primer Hawks, yes, hashtag Primer Hawks. Thank you, Side Hoppin'. Let me go ahead and pull up something on Facebook, because I need to pull this up for context. Because Brian said something very interesting when it comes to all this. So, we all learned in elementary school how numbers work. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Somehow, Brian, knowing there would be issues with wave 1 due to COVID, decided to keep the second wave in the same factory that was causing him massive problems. So, wave 3 and 4 are going to arrive before wave 2. We are literally 2 years past the first wave's announcement. And now, we've got one wave and a second one coming. Of course, not the second one, it's the third or fourth one. So let me go ahead and move this here. So another promise he doesn't get into tea. Yes, true. Hello, Mythic Moon. Hello, Leandro. More Super 7 nonsense. Alright, so now, it's going to get ugly. So, buckle in. An update on waves 2 to 4 from Brian Flynn of Super 7, the paragon of truth, I'm sure. Hello everyone, we are super excited to share this image. Actually, let me go ahead and move this around. I want you guys to see this. I want you to witness my nonsense here that I gotta read. Whoop. Haha. The magic of technology. Back to it. Hello everyone, we are super excited to share this image of the production samples of the ThunderCats Ultimates Wave 2 figures for you. As you all know, this wave has been plagued by delays, but it's still moving forward, although slower than we wanted. We have chosen over and over again to make sure these figures are as accurate as possible, instead of making them as fast as possible. As many of you know, this wave of ThunderCats Ultimates was purposely sent to the original factory that produced Wave 1, because you're dumb. This is a much larger factory, and our orders became less of a priority than their other larger clients. Unfortunately, as a result, our production has been bumped down quite a bit, to say the least. Because of this decision, we switched production back to our primary factory. ThunderCats Ultimates Wave 3 is already shipped from this factory, and ThunderCats Ultimates is scheduled to be shipped in September. Sure, buddy. This means both Wave 3 and 4 will arrive in your hands before Wave 2, which is currently scheduled to leave the factory in November 2021. I wish I had better answers for all of you regarding the second wave of ThunderCats Ultimates, but we can't deliver anything that isn't correct. Remember this. Remember this. At this time, that means waiting a few more months for them to be completed. This is frustrating for us too, but as it also delays from sharing the next wave of figures with you, as we want to get the figures you have already ordered into your hands first. The good news is we believe this will be the final delay, sure it will, and that all you soon will have the Mumra, the ever-living figure we all wanted. Thank you for your continued support. Okay, so Bjorn had questions. He said, a question for Lio. How many waves have been announced and how many have been delivered? Ooh, buddy. We have had 4 waves of ThunderCats Ultimates announced, a ThunderCats Ultimates Thunder Tank. We have 5 waves of Ninja Turtles Ultimates announced, 2 waves of Conan announced, 1 wave of Silverhawks announced, a wave of G.I. Joe, a wave of Simpsons. We've had Ren and Stimpy, and only like a third of these have come out. So I want you to remember what he just said. As accurate, we got to make them good. So let's take a look. And I'm hoping this will show up on screen. No, I'll have to remove this again, so just give me a moment. Boop. Actually, let me just go ahead and get rid of the control panel. Sorry, Panther, you're going to have to go away for a bit. Wait. Alright. So, on the surface, one would assume they're okay. But that's only if you don't have a critical eye. So we're going to have a more critical eye, as, oddly enough, some of the people on the websites have. From the surface, Mumra's still the wrong color. Tiger's still got that really bad head sculpt. We'll get into you in a minute, big boy. So, what's the problem? Let's take a look at what some people on the .org of all things have thought. Firstly, good meme. This was all told to me by Mark, a friend of mine that still hangs around this decrepit place. So let's see here. I think I went too far back. It's okay then. Let's take a look. Mumra's forearms are either misassembled or backwards. So, as accurate as possible. Tigra's arm, in the copy that was shown, the production copy, people noticed that they had the wrong forearm on this side. Right? That's supposed to be on his left arm. They didn't correct it. They just painted over it. As you can see here, the bands are still on the incorrect arm, and they just painted over it. These are shipped and ready to go production copies. We're going to take our time, guys. It's going to be accurate as possible. We need to make sure they're right as we work on a decade-old buck. Are there any more images they posted here? Because I want to go a little more ham on it, and I will. Yes, I know that this guy is constantly, like, sucking up to Super7 because he's got a plastic addiction. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in a little more. Open an image, new tab. Imgur. Oh, God, not Imgur. Okay, now that we've zoomed in a little more. How much did it cost? $55 each is the new retail standard for these from Super7. So, Tigra's head is still sculpted incorrectly. His colors are back to the blue, which are not accurate at all to show models at all, which they promised to correct, by the way. In all the pre-orders, they have him in his proper colors. Groon generally looks okay, but I don't know why, but every single company that's done anything ThunderCats related keeps making the Eye of Thundera constantly red. This scene in specific from Return to Thundera, the eye's color is brown, and they never get that right. Mumra, again, is the wrong color, because they don't source model sheets. They source bad screen caps, either of their own volition or because Warner Brothers is stupid. Take your pick. What I do like is they've actually made sure the colors on the cape are different colors this time. They are off, Grim. They are off. I'm saying in general he looks fine. Pumira, she's looking like she's got some arm problems here in the cut, but I could be wrong. This is bad. But this also isn't the only thing we're going to be looking at today. So they also decided to show off some stuff for Wave 4. Let's go look at Wave 4. There's the hard copy for Pumra, because we just had to have him right off the bat. Let's go ahead and open this. Alright, so Linkso here, either his arms are super gangly or his torso's crunched in and you just can't tell because the hard copy's black. There's also the fact that they still don't have his toes corrected. They just have him in normal boots when he has toppy boots. I'm seeing where the ab crunch is going to work on the new buck, which I'm glad they updated. I'll give them props for that. But I'm pretty sure this color is still going to be off. So is Snowman's. And isn't it interesting how we have all of this, but Wave 2 is literally, like, still off. Mumra's. No, the legs definitely got a problem. Now that you pointed out. I don't know what's going on here. Is that a growth? I think Mumra's having some body horror issues here in the leg region. Because that's definitely off. You are not wrong. But it's okay. They got nice packaging. That's what's important. Good God. And this man is going to still consistently lie to people. We're not going to release them until they're correct. Now let me ignore every single criticism about these things. And here's the kicker. Usually, it's just me raging about this. And everybody goes, oh, it's fine, it's fine. The animation wasn't always accurate to its models, as though that's an excuse. Now they're not saying that anymore. Now they're getting fed up with it. They're getting sick of it. If you go look at even the He-Man.org conversation, they're doing nothing but making fun of the sorry production schedule, Brian's goofy explanations. They're tired of it. And so am I. We all are. It's been said Super7 are having to redo Wave 2 at their factory because the ones from the Mattel factory are correct. Where? Where are they saying that? And why would they share incorrect things? And here's something else. I need to find the image. I think it might be in the Wave 3 discussion. So give me a moment to get to it. This god-awful site. Who remembers the classic, classics, yeah, but Grayskull Teela and her hip issues? Chitara's got them again. When Brian's been told multiple times, you gotta fix the hips. Did Brian fix the hips? Nope. That takes effort and work, and we can't have that. Pay Piggy has to be paid. Her eyes are also really slanted and goofy. I'm pretty sure the logo's incorrect. There's the communicator he kept calling it. It's the Locket of Lies, because, the man doesn't know anything about this property. Hello, Mr. Lyle Convoy. You're correct about Mumra, and yet one thing is missing for Super7's Mumra, his pet dog, Mamad. Actually, he has him. He's right here. Wait, gotta make sure you can actually see that. Yeah, you can. What effort would you make a quick cash grab? Yeah, because they're always hurting for products, so ThunderCat fans will pay for it, unfortunately. He's a greenish gray. How many people work at Super7? Too many to make this type of error. I'll tell you that right now. Now, it's going to be a fairly short stream because I don't have too much to say, but I needed to go ahead and get that out because people are stupid and they will actively go and do damage control. especially people who are paid to do it, like Toy Bro, unfortunately. And I really used to like his content, and then he sold out to Numbnuts. And no, I don't support that, and I never will. Now, let's go ahead and move topics a little bit to something that surprised me. I like a lot of 90s cartoons, but I never watched Street Sharks. It just wasn't in my range. So, Mattel, come on, work with me here. I believe it was yesterday. Oh, today. Announced new Street Sharks. Go away. I hate ads. Out of my face. With new figures. Before they became our favorite animated man sharks in the 90s, the Street Sharks started as sketches. Every toy or cartoon starts as a sketch, you idiot. Some of the sketches eventually morphed into the toothy crime fighters we know and love, and some never saw the light of day. Until now. Our designers dug through the archives to give 3 original concepts of Clambo, Carcass, and Ripster their time in the water. Ripster, the lead shark, originally imaged as the lead jock and named Ripley, wears cleats, a helmet, and sunglasses. His weapon of choice, a football missile perfect for jawsome power passes. Carcass, long before he became paranoid, Carcass had evil in his gills. Featuring a piranha's toothy grin and removable fish fists, this nemesis is casually dressed in sneakers and a track jacket. That's true signs of evil right there. Clambo. Michael, don't tell Melinda. Please don't tell Melinda. This half-man, half-mollusk is armed to the teeth. He has teeth. And a villain. He features a camo shell, multiple blasters, and a biting sneer. Each figure will cost $75 each and be available for pre-order on August 27th at noon at the Mattel Creations websites. Kill yourselves. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the figures, which this article doesn't have. Oh, there they are. Yeah, 75. I think they're 8-inch. Let's take a look at the designs. Man, these are irritating images to deal with. You know, I saw these earlier and I posted about them somewhere else, but this version of a Street Sharks character doesn't really fit with the ultimate design. They came with the massive head torsos. Yeah, these are, you're right, $75 for rejected concepts. Why couldn't you just release updated versions of the original toys? For as much grief I'm sorry, Melinda. I didn't mean to ruin your night like that. As much as I give Super7 grief, overall, I like their updated Ninja Turtle figures. So the fact that somehow Street Sharks can't do this is mind-boggling, filled with ineptitude, and irritating. We're not done yet either. Oh, God, what gaudy colors, too. It really is the 90s. The Street Sharks, to my knowledge, weren't just bodies with a fish head. Well, I'm not sleeping tonight. Fantastic. How do you get dressed? How do you eat? How does he tie his shoes? Huh. I've seen Porters and Mutant Football League look better. That was a weird cartoon. How do you wipe yourself? I wasn't going to ask because I assumed he poops like a fish. Clambo. Here you go, Melinda. Life is pain. Like, number one, that's gonna hurt, having a little bandana up by your eyes. And they didn't even give him a combat knife. This is just not right. It's not right. When you dig to the bottom of the nostalgia barrel and you have to use leftovers that weren't even good enough for Street Sharks. Correct. Is that a camcorder? I don't know what that thing is at the bottom, but these are guns. Are you sure it's not a camcorder? Better picture of a Rippy here. I don't know. The initial designs, I know Opal hates them, but I like how beefy they were and how surreally terrifying they looked. And this just looks like basic furry art. And shark furry art's always been weird. But no. Just no. Bad, Mattel. Bad. Stick you in a corner. Ah, that's how I feel when I wake up in the morning. Clam quarter. Good God, you're probably right. Yeah, I probably am. You're a shark. Why do you need a helmet? Like, and here's what. They have, what, 2, 3? Let me go ahead and back up here in a moment. This is the last image. So I'm guessing at most they have 5 points of articulation. And they want $75 for them. $75 for this. Each. I think. Let me double check. I don't want to misquote that. Yep, $75 each. They want $75 for this. For each of these figures. Why does humanity suffer in this way? What have we done? Okay, so in fairness, we've done a lot of wrong things, but I don't think we deserve this. You can get a toy customizer to make an updated Street. You could pay Joe Amato to make an updated Street Shark figure of better quality that's probably around or a little bit higher than this price. Don't give Kevin Smith any ideas. Good God. 75 for all three, maybe. Man, that would be pushing it. 60 tops. And you don't have Vin Diesel even, doing promos for this. I want to see some Rocky Balboa action. Clambo. And on top of that, they make him a bad guy. Rambo's his own thing. You could 3D print a Street Shark and it'd be better looking than he is. You're not wrong. Sooner or later, guys, we've got to stop. Street Sharks hold about as much interest to me as James Bond Jr. and Reboot. Reboot's actually a pretty good cartoon. James Bond Jr., I watched a couple times as a kid, and I'm like, why does this exist? And I'm sure I'm going to have somebody in my comment section come in and start yelling at me. It's probably going to be grim. But sooner or later, we as people, I'm not going to say as a community, we as people have just got to stop buying into all the nostalgia bait. We've got to. Because what is this? It's literally dragging from initial sketches to create toys nobody wanted, nobody asked for. It's the only Street Sharks related property out here right now, and hardcore fans are going to buy it because they're starved for stuff. And at that point, you have to ask yourself, it's an addiction. Now I'm baffled by Junior's existence as well. Fair. Could this be Mattel jumping the shark? No, it's pimping the shark. But certainly not a $75 figure level interest. That's insanity. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it's a Mattel Creations, just like their clear Skeletor that was around the same price that people for some reason bought. Which... A fool and his money are easily parted. James Bond was his uncle. What's a weird name? Call him Junior then. Looks like he's going to tip over. Again, my aesthetic is always big buff things, but he skipped leg day. You can't skip leg day. How would you reboot Street Sharks? I wouldn't. I'd let somebody who knows and cares about the property do it. But ideally, you'd want to identify what about the original hardcore fans liked and flesh it out. Mattel Creations and HasLab inflating prices and bilking customers. Yes, that is not an incorrect statement. I am tired. I am very tired. Let me go ahead and move this down a little bit so you guys can see it a little better. I apologize. Come on, work with me here. There we go. Did Rob Liefeld design these by any chance? No, because they have feet. Okay, thinking logically, how many would have to be sold for them to even remotely break even, especially at 75 pop? I have no idea because I don't know how they're being produced. I genuinely couldn't answer that. If Wild West Cowboys and Mesa, I might be tempted. God, so much weird stuff. And again, I'm an '80s kid too. I recognize any fiction is outlandish by its sheer nature, but the '90s, everybody likes toting the '90s as a renaissance of American cartoons with such unique, story-driven characters. It wasn't there to push merchandise, and you look at all of them, they all push merchandise. The '90s had the most bizarre, outlandish concepts, even compared to its previous decade predecessor. Like, what was the weirdest thing from the '80s? Like, normal weird. Probably Ninja Turtles, right? Four mutated turtles that learn ninjutsu by their rat sensei that sometimes and sometimes isn't Hamato Yoshi. What did the '90s have? Street Sharks, Extreme Dinosaurs, Creepy Crawlers the cartoon, Toxic Crusaders, which should never have been a cartoon to begin with. I know that's probably going to get Tyler irritated with me. I love you, buddy. I do. Like, all my heart and soul. But I have some morally withstanding issues about turning an R-rated movie into a child's property. That's just my personal opinion. Mutant League. God. If you were to actually sit there and look at all the '90s cartoons, the gems are nowhere near as plentiful as the questionable things. TMNT, which went utterly nuts tonight. It did go crazy. I'll never understand how that toy line didn't collapse into a black hole because it was fun. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. SWAT Cats I can look at and be like, you know what? They just went rule of cool and owned it. The same thing I do for Super Robot series. Like, if you sit there and you try to logic it out, like, try to be realistic, it's going to fail. But it all operates well within its own world setting. And that's what I require. You have to make sense within the universe you've constructed. And SWAT Cats does. We also had 2 RoboCop cartoons, I think. We had Phantom, 2044 or something like that. The Phantom in the future, which is... I like the Phantom, I do. But just really weird concept. Have you seen Big Guy and Rusty? I actually did not. It did not appeal to me when I was younger. Convoy, I'm terrified of the idea someone's going to get the rights to SWAT Cats and make overpriced trash. Well, the Trimbleys own the rights to it. Cartoon Network / Warner Brothers owns the distribution rights to the original cartoon, but the property is owned by the Trimbleys. So, buckle up. You probably will see, eventually, SWAT Cat toys done by somebody. I'm trying to playfully bully a certain person I know into getting it, but we'll see how that goes. Yes, there were SWAT Cat toys. There were 4 figures made. And they were terrible. What about Men in Black the series? Very well animated, very well written. I think there was a toy line, I can't remember. Lego SWAT Cats, please no. In one of the 2 RoboCop cartoons, RoboCop has rocket power roller skates. Yes, he does. It had a killer intro. What about all the R-rated movies that got toys? Well, I'm morally consistent, so I don't get that either. Like, I'm usually the fish out of water, ironic because of what's on the screen. When it comes to some of the other people who are really fond of '80s stuff, of course not Michael, because he made his point very clear about that. But there's something really weird about that to me. '90s RoboCop cartoon should be ignored. Well, so should the 3rd film. That's not the point. I'd love to see an updated 6-inch scale SWAT Cat figures, either a standalone line or part of the Marvel Legends style Cartoon Network figure line. I'd actually think they'd do better in 3 3/4 because you can't have SWAT Cats without the Turbo Cat. I mean, come on. And you can do a Turbo Cat the same size as a Sky Striker because they're the same type of jet. And I definitely wouldn't want a Lego SWAT Cats. For the record, though, I am currently trying to get like a hold of every SWAT Cat figure that was made so I can actually go into working on reviewing the series and the toy line. Making Aliens toys for kids is just... Something's not right there. It's just, ugh. Did anyone see the 90s Godzilla animated series? I didn't. And it was petty. I get it. I need to watch it at some point, but that movie soured my taste so hard. I didn't even give it a chance. I'm gonna make everybody suffer. I'm gonna put Clambo on here. There we go. You can all suffer with me. Extreme Ghostbusters. I wound up seeing that in 2016, and I enjoyed it. I really did. The SWAT Cats Jet toy I found was the toy from Jack in the Box. Correct, because the main toy line didn't have it. Here's a fun fact for you. The SWAT Cats toy line was done by Rimco Toys, and it was the last toys they produced. Ever. And they were terrible. Alien. Someone must have shared your reaction as there was going to be an animated series to go along with it, but was canceled. Like, when you look at Aliens, its production, its intention, all the stuff concerning that, I would not let a kid near that. What made that movie sour for you, Lyle Convoy? It wasn't Godzilla. I mean, I'm a hardcore old school Godzilla fan. Showa at that point, because I didn't see anything Heisei other than 1985, which is to this day still my favorite Godzilla film. But it underwhelmed. I can't think of a single person, even in my family, because my parents weren't as critical of quote unquote kids media, in that sense. They were in terms of like morality and whatnot, but they weren't critical of it to that sense. And even they didn't like it. They're like, "Where's the atomic breath? Why is it destroying more? Wait, what do you mean eggs? It's a lizard?" How do you feel about kids' properties being turned into R-rated media? Same way I feel about R-rated media being turned into kids' property. There's something morally wrong with it. I've heard really good things about the 90s Godzilla series since then. Monster Island Buddies is one of my favorite Godzilla channels, and he's talked about it before. And he's genuinely entertaining. If you're watching me and you're not watching him and you like Godzilla, you are doing yourself a serious disservice. Would you like to see the Kinner Animal Hybrid Xenomorph in a live-action show or movie? I'm not an Aliens fan, so unfortunately you're asking the wrong person. The Kong animated series is on Tubi. I just discovered it a couple days ago. I've never even heard of that. What are your thoughts on toy companies like Resurrect and Joyride? I've never heard of them either. Dude, I love Godzilla. Godzilla is my favorite film franchise. It is the only live-action films I will sit and watch without any question. These are brand new, Pale Knight. They're 3 concept rejects that Mattel is putting out there at $75 each. I was into Monster High and Unbelievable. What actually got my interest in them is I had never seen the Shadow before, but he started doing reviews of the Trendmaster line. I had a few of them when I was a kid, and they were always an anomaly to me. So having somebody there who could tell me what was going on was just really enjoyable. Even if it's Godzilla's Revenge, yes. Even if it's Godzilla's Revenge. Have you seen the crossover episode with Mask and Ace Ventura? No, because I did not watch those cartoons, as I was also not permitted to watch those movies. I only ever remember the scene where Jet Jaguar is restraining a bad guy so Godzilla can kick him with his tail, fly and kick him. That is a boss scene. Did you watch Godzilla Singular Point? Not yet. If you want to know what I'm watching right now, I'm currently watching the latest season of Baki the Grappler, and I am enjoying every moment of it. I did see a bit of the Tick. Spoon! Look up knee stuff. Alright, I'll try to check that out later then. As a standalone series, if you ignore the Godzilla connection, I think 98 was a decent, okay monster movie. I'll agree with that, but it sucked as Godzilla, correct. Anyone remember there was a Sherlock Holmes show set in the future? Yes, and believe it or not, Filmation was going to make one before that. They actually were going to make it a backdoor pilot in Brave Star. This is something Grimm actually showed me. Terror of Mechagodzilla. Ah, that's a good one too. But again, I usually have favorites primarily along like Showa Heisei Millennium. My favorite Showa movie, it's let's excuse like the first one because that's the obvious pick. Outside of that, I genuinely enjoyed Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Godzilla, that first Godzilla Mechagodzilla fight. For Heisei, it's obviously 1985. Yes, specifically the 1985 cut. And in Millennium, God, such good films, but it's Final Wars, babe. It's Final Wars, baby. Let's see here. Did you ever watch Liberty Kids? A couple episodes and I tuned out of it. Do you know about Sherlock Hound? I do. Really good animation too. Thoughts on Pacific Rim? Not my thing. I get why people like it, but it just doesn't. How do I put this? When it comes to monster movies, Japan versus America, Japan seems very much so on they're either creations that are going to punish us for our own sins, or they're forces of nature that we can't overcome, so we just have to learn to deal with them. Whereas in America, or the West specifically, it's we have robot big monster go boom, haha, awesome. And I prefer the former than the latter, in specifically that type of case for kaiju films. In any case, close her loop on the third fans right here. Up from the depths, 30 stories high. Ah, God. Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, where he was voiced by Frank Welker. Do you suppose you could review Disney Mattel doll commercials from the 1990s, 2014s? No, I'm not really into reviewing commercials. I'd love to see Thundar remade by someone who cares to do it right. So would Melinda. And so would I. Have you seen the Monster Hunter animated movie? No, Monster Hunter is not my thing. And I love Watership Down. Yes, but we're talking about specifically kaiju-related films. I'm a fan of the original Dragon Ball in terms of plot and story concepts. There's things in there that raise my hackles, and outside of that, I'm not really fond of the franchise because I think the writing's really bad. I tried watching Yu Yu Hakusho. I got one episode in and I fell asleep. Have you seen the 1954 Them movie? What's a Them movie? Do you like the host? Never heard of it. Why remake Thundar when it can be continued? Because every time I've seen a property try to continue a story from long ago, media wise, they always dig it up. Remember, Voltron tried that twice. How'd that work out for them? So did Ninja Turtles. Hanna-Barbera's Goji was voiced by Frank Welker. Ultra Q. I don't think I'm familiar with it. That hurts as I am sitting here staring at part of my Yu Yu Hakusho collection. I'm sorry, man. It just didn't leave a good first impression with me. Have you ever heard of Madame Alexander Psycho Doll? I believe so. Same happens with remakes. Sometimes, a lot of times, yes, but it's still, personally, I think it's smarter to do a proper reboot by people who care than it is a continuation. Because, again, also less baggage. Then, movie out giant radioactive ants. No, I have not then. Let's see Chris Hemsworth as Thundar. I would not. Thundar is an animated property and should stay there. Thoughts on Brave Little Toaster? I hate clowns. I just bought a ThunderCats shirt. I'm on swag. So I feel about Berserk and other Edgelord series just bore me to sleep. I don't blame you for that general thought. I enjoy Berserk not because of the edginess, but because I like the writing in it. I think sometimes it gets tossed aside as being edgy for edgy's sake. I don't think that's its intent. Thoughts on The Great Mouse Detective was one of my favorite Disney films. Very underrated. And I was never really fond of the giant monster bug movies. Candy cigarettes. None, because I didn't partake. When you see a grandparent die of cigarettes, any sort of stuff like that just completely evaporates of love. Oliver and Company. Fun story about that. T.S. Eliot's book about cats, the one being turned into the Broadway musical Cats. If I recall correctly, that's what Oliver and Company was originally going to be. Was there ever a toy line for gargoyles? Yes, there was. Matter of fact, we actually have one of them downstairs because my wife's a big fan of gargoyles. That was Frank Welker as Godzilla. Man, is there anything he hasn't done since I was a kid? There's a few things. Like one or two, maybe. I wish the Funimation staff had the range that man does. Oh, the Berserk 97 series. It's very slow paced. Very slow. I enjoy it, but not everybody's going to. So if you hate clowns, that means Michelangelo is your least favorite turtle? I mean, he is my least favorite turtle, but not because of that. Have you ever seen Hot Rod Dogs and Cool Car Cats? No. I remember Toys R Us. I do too, but not fondly. Wasn't Billy Joel and Oliver and Company? Yes, he was. Have you watched the 2019 movie Cats? No, because I don't hate myself that much. Were you ever into Johnny Quest? You're darn right I was. Still am. It's a really good show, both the original and Hanna-Barbera. Moving on from there to the 80s, I know they did some work then, and of course New Adventures I enjoyed as well. Yeah, Oliver and Company was originally going to be Cats, if I recall correctly, and Scooby-Doo Zombie Island was originally going to be a SWAT Cat script. Thoughts on a Black Cauldron? Underrated, but I understand why. It was not hitting well in the zeitgeist. Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Yes, you're right. That's the name of it. Would you be interested in a release of Black Cauldron unreleased, or would you be interested in a release of the Black Cauldron's uncut version if it ever comes out? Yes, I would. He does the roaring effects for Godzilla in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Favorite Muppet? Gonzo. Thoughts on Gundam Hathaway? Haven't seen it yet. Cat should have been animated, and Spielberg was really going to make it animated. That's good. Thoughts on Song of the South? Not my thing. Really? I was told it was Frank Welker. I guess I need to go double check things sometimes. Looks like I was wrong about the voice of Godzilla in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Maybe I'm thinking about the 90s one then. Now I'm going to look that up. Yes. My apologies. Frank Welker did it in the 90s cartoon. Not in the original Hanna-Barbera. That's where I got mixed up. Rolf was my favorite Muppet. Which version of Gollum is better? Frank Ronkenboss or Peter Jackson? I prefer the Ronkenboss one. Do I find Frozen overrated? Kind of. The Centurions? I liked what I saw of it when I was younger. Thoughts on DC Looney Tunes crossover comics? Some of them were good. Some of them, I wonder what they were smoking. Frank Welker, yes, he also was assisted by a tiger. And despite what the meme going around says, that they didn't choose not to use a lion because the roar wasn't powerful enough. A lion's roar can be heard up for 5 miles away. But it's because a lion's roar isn't dramatic or long. A tiger's roar is bursting and it's aggressive, because when a tiger roars, it's because it's trying to intimidate you and startle you, so you're easier to catch. When a lion roars, it's to announce, this is my territory, piss off. So you hear a tiger's roar in just about every single media involving cats, so you know what that is. But a lion's roar is more like, it's like a very angry cat letting you know he's around. You heard that Disney is getting rid of the ride Splash Mountain? No, I've never been to Disney. There's a video of him recording them. Was it an Irish tiger? No, I don't think so. Yesterworld Entertainment goes over to history of Disney. Interesting. What do you think Similodon sounded like? Jagger. You want to talk about Jellicles? That's my wheelhouse, just like ThunderCats is Lyle Conway's wheelhouse. Yeah, I'm familiar enough with that lore. Did you watch wrestling in the 90s? No, I actually wasn't allowed to, because my mother was a wise woman and knew that we would try what they did. What books would you like to see get an animated adaptation? I'd like to see The Eternal Champion as an animated film. I'm still fond of the idea of the entire Chronicles of Narnia getting an animated adaptation. Same with Lord of the Rings, a lot of the classic stories. Have you watched Rugrats? Yes, the original. Never really my thing. Thoughts on Shrek? Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Hand-drawn Narnia miniseries. I guess it'd be good depending on who's helming it. Did the Berenstain Bears ever have a cartoon? Yeah, they did. They had a few animated shorts. No, no, no. I said entire series. Like, I want the entire thing animated. Yeah, you're gonna be sick when a tiger roars at you because its entire point is to scare the living daylights out of you. What book series should be a good movie series? I don't know. You tell me. But tell Netflix were to cast out Kevin Smith and listen to hardcore Motu fans, rectify creative storytelling, do you want put into Motu Revelations? At this point, it's not salvageable. Thoughts on Jim Henson's Dinosaurs? I enjoyed it when I watched it. I haven't seen it in a long, long time. Thoughts on the Quake remaster coming out? None, because I never played the original Quake. Have you seen Rocko's Modern Life? I loved Rocko's Modern Life. What are your thoughts on the new He-Man and Masters of the Universe CGI series? It's going to suck, but because it's headed by the same clown who did Revelation. How do you start hunting pedophiles? Well, I saw what happened in 2018 concerning Toon Critic, how poorly that was handled, and I had a choice of either sitting on the sidelines and being a prick about it or engaging and trying to help, and I chose the latter. Well, I just bought the lion on the nose when it roars at you. Take a shot at that. See how that works. Favorite Ray Harryhausen film? I mean, come on, man. You can't do that to me. But it's Jason and the Argonauts. Thoughts on Netflix plan for Narnia? I don't even know what they are. Are you a fan of The Land Before Time? Yes, the first film and nothing else. What's worse, Revelations or Roar? They're both equally bad in different directions. Rob David is a hack. I think that might be insulting to hacks. Snarfer was always the most annoying character in ThunderCats to me. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You dare disrespect Motu Revelation any day, all day, and all the time. Thoughts on the Looney Tunes cartoons on HBO Max? The few I've seen, I seem to enjoy, but I haven't watched all of them. You watched Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold is unironically my favorite Nicktoon. James E. Doc would have been a much better fit for Motu than Rob David, unquestionably. Street Sharks are rare price. Yes, for $75, they absolutely are. Have I seen the Netflix special of Rocko's Modern Life? Yes, I have. Multi Revelation celebrates the full cast. I severely disagree. And you'll find out why when I do my video on it. Do you suppose that you find the Land Before Time sequels awful? Yes, I do. Do you believe in aliens or Bigfoot? I'm more concerned about whether or not Bigfoot believes in me. ThunderCats is Boo. No, I don't think it's Boo. Boo Radley was in Kill a Mockingbird. Thoughts on Danny Phantom? I enjoyed Danny Phantom. Did you see the image for live action Cowboy Bebop series? Thoughts? Yes, I did, and my thoughts are it's going to be terrible. And not because of the images I saw, but because it's going to be live action. And I've only heard of one animated property turned live action that didn't suck, and that was Rurouni Kenshin. Thoughts on King Kong 2005 is my favorite version. King Kong makes me sad. I don't like having to watch it. Good luck shoveling the tide. I have no idea what you're talking about. Gory, if you're here just to sit there and get mad because I'm not a fan of Revelations, you're kind of dumb. Not everybody you watch is going to share your opinion, and more importantly, I'm not going to share the opinion of somebody who's not giving a good argumentation. He's just getting upset. You're older than me. You should be smarter than that. Thoughts on Who Framed Roger Rabbit finally getting 4K release? I don't know what more 4K is going to do for that film. It's a great film, though. Thoughts on Jimmy Neutron? I'm not a fan. Dune would have been awesome as an animated series if it's close to the books, probably. I don't why people hate the 2005 King Kong. I don't hate the 2005 King Kong. King Kong movies make me sad. I always feel bad for him. I just gave my thoughts on live action Cowboy Bebop. I have a soft spot for 1976 King Kong. My dad was in the crowd at the base of the World Trade Center. Aw. What shows from 4Kids have you watched? Um, a few of them. But here's the thing. You know what Four Kids was called in the 80s? See if any of you can guess. You watch DuckTales. Yes, I like DuckTales. Does anybody know the evil mutants' origin from ThunderCats? Yes, they're from the planet Plundar, and they're all pricks. Dude, we never got a Ginny Turtikoski Popeye movie. I don't know if he would have been the right fit for it, to be honest with you. Speed Racer was a good live-action adaptation of an animated property. Ah, that thing gives you freaking headaches. Mighty Joe Young also made me sad. God, I remember seeing that in theaters. Instead of the Gindy Popeye, we got the Emoji Movie. Ah, but wasn't that such a celebrated film? Gory, if you're going to be in here and try to argue about how good you think Revelation is, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll waffle stomp you. So here's what I'm going to recommend you do. I'm going to recommend, if you're so offended by the fact that I don't like Revelation, that you click off the video that you're currently watching and go find something else to do. Because it didn't utilize every character put on screen, because Andro was completely worthless, did nothing of any real value. Not a cameo. Stinkor would like to talk about that. Or is the worst to come from ThunderCats? I don't know if that's true, because the return still exists. Clamp Champ was literally just Chemo, so was Fisto. No, he wasn't. He was used as a one-time sight gag. That's not development. They really killed Mothman. Yep, under a second. Love to see an animated version of John Carter of Mars, true to the books. True. Thoughts on Astro Boy 2003? Didn't see it. You and Chris Sanchez Porn Fusion? No, thank you. I don't bounce checks. Before it was 4Kids TV, it was the WB. I'm talking about 4Kids the property. Like the actual company. Do you know what it was in the 80s? Highlander cartoon from the early 90s. I saw a bit of it, but I actually have the animated anime movie Highlander, Search for Vengeance. It's actually really good. I genuinely enjoy that movie. Have you seen the Don Bluth movie, A Troll in Central Park? And absolutely green. I have, and it was terrible. I love Don Bluth, but that certainly was not his best work. Oof. Last good movie I watched. You had to give me a minute on that one. Demon Slayer Infinity Train. Correct, Mark Baker. It was Leisure Concepts. You wouldn't have had 4Kids without ThunderCats. Just let that sink in. Thoughts on a Canadian-produced live-action Highlander TV series? My brother-in-law really liked it. I couldn't stand the choreography, so I was completely turned off from it. Any thoughts on a Silver House reboot? I'm weird to see Super7 tied to it. It's going to suck, because Super7's tied to it, and they don't care about that property. Merman wasn't incredible. Merman was a joke. And Kevin Conroy phoned that entire thing in. Gory, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to decide what you want to do here. If you want to try to come on and argue with me about this, you're welcome to take a shot at it. And I mean actually come on the camera. Or not camera, on the microphone. You'll have to hop into the server, which I don't think you'll know how to do. Or you can take your butt hurt, go get some Preparation H, and find somewhere else to be. Thoughts on the Three Stooges? I enjoyed Three Stooges when I was younger. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not, but reading what they do or what they went through is just really heartbreaking, and I can't divorce myself from that. I have a public-facing job. Good for you. Most people have public-facing jobs. Why are you so mean to Adrian Paul? Love him long time. Him bake you those raspberries. Oh, come on now. I've seen Razor Fist Chair movie about the shirts. Can't be hard to do. That's why I corrected myself and said, Mike, I'm tired. Not big on Indiana Jones either. That's more Michael's thing. Thoughts on Tron Uprising? Didn't watch it. 9 times out of 10, If it's based on a live action movie, I'm not going to be interested. I'm going to take a stab at 4 Kids Fox Box. Oh, God. Thoughts on Ed and Nettie? It's a unique cartoon and Rolf's the best character. The son of the shepherd will make the Ed boy pay. Sometimes you just have to tell somebody that's your horse. Movie Bob is still holding out hope Nostalgia Chick will give him a chance. Well, somebody's got to have hope on something, I suppose. Dexter's Laboratory is very unique. And then Johnny Test copied it in reverse. Yes, he was the voice of, I believe, the ocean dub Goku. Is it had discipline? Do you live in a cave? I love Rolf. I never really played with Hot Wheels, so unfortunately, no. Favorite non-animated 90s Nick show like Salute Your Shorts or Pete and Pete? All that. Ever heard of Robot Ninja's anime series? No, I haven't. Where can I watch the 2000X He-Man on DVD? Or, like, any of the pirate sites? Is it wrong that I want to see Razor and Lyle collaborate on something? I enjoy when Razor talks just about the media without having to throw in a billion different political jabs. There's some things he's wrong about, some things he's extremely knowledgeable about. But I don't think our formats are compatible because Razor tends to string together a lot of really clever alliteration. He's very quick-witted when it comes to that. I'm just angry. One of the few dubs I will support. Have you seen Eddie Murphy's PJs? Yes, on Adult Swim years ago. And really good stop animation. I'll give them that, but just didn't appeal to me on a story level. Did you watch Botmasters? No. Am I going to do a video on Lily? No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the ThunderCats Redux with Retro Blasting as well. Thoughts on Initial D? Haven't seen it. Believe it or not, I have not seen every single piece of animated media out there. I think Razor Fist was a mutant character. That's funny. From the Ninja Turtles 2003 series. Ah, that's funny. '90s Batman series was awesome. Yes, it is still the gold standard for animation in the West, in my opinion, in terms of storytelling, pacing, and artistic license. I was hoping they would just redo Street Sharks like Motu Origins. That would be interesting. Thoughts on the live action Wing Commander movie? Didn't watch it. I enjoyed Big O. Really good. Which among the sidekicks and ThunderCats do you want to keep you company in your man cave? Snarf, Burble, or Mum Ra's dog Mama? None of them. That's what I have a wife for. I don't watch Critical Drinker, so I couldn't tell you. Thoughts on the newest James Patterson Shadow novel? I have it on audiobook. I haven't listened to it yet. I also haven't watched Sin City, so I can't tell you if those movies are good or not. I do own Wolf's Rain. It is depressing. Well said, Mark. That is all I've got for today. I need to head to bed because it's getting late and I gotta be up early. So thank you all for joining me for this short impromptu stream, and I'll catch you all later. Have a good evening.